Hi, I'm Michael. I'm going to walk you through how to set up the OpenResume. So after you first sign in, you should be brought to a profile page where you can enter your name. This is what will appear on the front end on your resume. The slug is what you'll choose to be presented on in the URL. This would be my OpenResume link after I save my changes. The display email, the email address that you'd have on the public page. So you probably don't want to use your personal email address. If you have a secondary email address you could use, that would be ideal to put here. It's up to you, but it will be available online. And it is optional. You don't have to input the display email if you don't want it to be displayed. And then the position title, how you'd want to be presented in the header of your resume. And then in the location field, you can be general if you'd like and keep it general, because this is not like something that's submitted directly to a company. This doesn't need to have all your personal information on it. And then at the bottom, we have the site information. So like the website title and the site description, and you can set an image. So this is what would appear on social media when you share your URL on something like LinkedIn or Facebook. So that is saved. And if I go to skills, let's say I want to add some skills to my resume here. I'm going to go ahead and just add a few. Let's add HTML. We'll say I started this in 2010. And say you want to override one of the years here. So if I, even though I started CSS in 2010, but I've only actually used it for 3 years, I can go ahead and add that here under the total years section, and it'll update it accordingly. And there's a separate view for cloud. So we have experience and we have cloud. Great. So here's a couple of skills that we have. After we add them, we can click into them and you can add a description about the skill to go more in depth on what you know about it or what you've learned about this in your experience. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this is a description about HTML, and you can add images and style the text. It uses keyboard shortcuts and all that to style it. If you want to change the logo or the icon that has appeared next to the skill, you can choose a skill name from Iconify or an icon name from Iconify here. So if I search for like HTML, there's a whole bunch of different options to choose from, and you can change the default here. So you'll want to copy this text value, copy that, and I'll paste it in here, and then we can go ahead and save. And when you're done, you can close this out. You'll see I have the updated icon, and the content should be saved in the description. Next, I'm going to go over to my work experience, and this is where the skills come into play. So we're going to add a company. I'm going to go ahead and just call this one self-employed, and the location is a free form field, so you can type whatever you want in these. They're not strict. You can change them to whatever. I'll go ahead and say I started in January 2010, and if I leave the end date here open, it'll say like to present. So this would how you would say where you're working presently. I can go ahead and add a position, and I'll just call this one software engineer. I'll keep the same. It's the same format here. If there's a start and an end date, it will show the date range where you were in that position. If you're only in one position in a company, it won't show the date range, but if you're in a company and have had multiple positions, it'll separate them by date range in the front end. So here we're in the position, and then from here we want to add projects. So I'll say build landing pages for marketing endeavors. It's very basic. I'm going to go ahead and add that. And once you add the bullet point here, you can double click it and you can expand on the bullet point further. So this is where, like, if you can't fit everything in one line summary, if you want to expand on what these landing pages were, you can include videos or screenshots, all in this text area. For now, I'm just going to say this is a description about this particular project. And then if we want to display skills next to this project that we've used, this list of skills are the ones that we have on our account, ones that we've added, and we can go ahead and click whichever ones are relevant to this this particular project. And to expand on that a little further, well, let's save this first. And we're going to go take a look at the resume in its current state. Great. Okay, so here's our current live resume. I can get out a full screen here, and you can see this lives at openresume.org/Michael. This would be the public link that you could share in your job applications or wherever. And we'll see that we have our skills list, HTML. If we click on it, we'll see our description that we wrote about that skill. CSS does not have a description set, so it's not clickable. And then if we go down to our work experience, we have our self-employed, and then we have our title. And in this bullet point, we can click to drop down and see more information. So this is the description we added about the project. And then this button doesn't currently do anything, but it shows the skill that we have in that project. So let's go back here to the project again and say we want to expand on HTML and how it was used in the context of this project. So you would open up HTML and say, this is how I use HTML within the context of this project. We go ahead and save. And same deal as the project descriptions. We can have images and videos, whatever we want to include there. And we can go ahead and save. And now we'll see that if I refresh over here, we should be able to access the button under HTML. So now we have two different skills descriptions for HTML. There's the general description. Maybe this is like your origin story, how you discovered HTML and what made you interested in it. And then this button is how HTML was used within the context of this project. So this kind of gets into the details. And we can have as many projects as you'd like within your resume, and build it from there. And then lastly, we have education. So if I wanted to add my education here, we can go ahead and add that and save it. And this will appear at the bottom of the resume on the public facing side. If you have more than one certificate or degree from a particular college, it'll group them. So yeah, that's the gist of it. That's how you get it going. Play around with it, and there'll be new features coming up periodically. Things are happening. So check back often for new stuff.